G'day punters, welcome to Victims of the Punt. We're going to do a quick review of what happened there at Rosehill / Newcastle there last week, and then we'll jump into the Group 1 races from Randwick there on Saturday. It's a pleasure to welcome, as always, Mark Shean and Mark Rhoden. Mark Shean, if I start with yourself, this has been, if anything, an unorthodox autumn carnival, I think it's fair to say, in Sydney, and the wet weather just continues.
Yeah, well, it's pummeled down again this morning from the early hours. A little bit of a break at the moment, but it still doesn't look great. I think we're going to get more to come before race day, and it's just relentless.
Mark Rhoden, welcome. Technical difficulties aside, we'll make do. At least we've got you here on the show. Look, what are you expecting there tomorrow with the rail and the true?
Well, firstly, I'd just like to say that every autumn carnival appears to be unorthodox these days. It was back a week last year. The slipper got cancelled. The answer's staring in the face, but I don't think Mr. Volandis would like it. It's obviously just transferred the Sydney Carnival to Melbourne. That's the answer, but good for every week. But what can we expect tomorrow? Look, if you go back to the meeting on, I think it was the 26th of February, a day I thought they were no chance of racing, and they got through the whole card. The rail was in the true that day. And quite honestly, they won from everywhere. So I'm not going to get too hung up on a track pattern before I see any evidence to the contrary. I think handling the conditions will be paramount, more so than any track pattern, and perhaps then tempo comes into it as well. But if it plays like it did on the 26th and they get through the meeting, you should be able to bet on it with some confidence.
Fingers crossed that's the case, because this is one of my favourite cards of the year. But look, before we jump into the Group 1s, let's have a look at what happened at Rosehill and Newcastle. I'll just get your best performances on the day. Look, at the Newcastle card, Punting Forms Figures had O President as the best performance on the card, and that was basically as a result of the tempo there early. They've gone best part of 11, 12 lengths fast to the 600, so just an incredibly quick speed there for the class. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself. Did you have a standout performance at Rosehill or Newcastle?
Yeah, well, I actually had something on A President because I thought he'd try a good in between, and there was a massive change of tactics there. They dragged him back to last at Randwick, and lo and behold, up outside the lead or close enough to it, and Fangirl very much in a similar boat, very much like No Compromise. So Seems to be a bit of a trend, doesn't it?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Mark Rhoden, was there a standout for yourself?
G1 was very impressive. The second favourite failed and didn't beat much, but she's flying. I was going to mention the ride on Fangirl. That's clearly won at the race. W. Pike completely misjudged that on Gypsy Goddess. I wouldn't be ruling her out because they were going no speed at all there, and he was about 20 lengths off the lead. It just had no hope, that horse. He learned his lesson, though, because he fronted up at Newcastle yesterday and put Papali much closer to the speed from a similar sort of gate and got the money. So he went from that. But G1, very good. Just a question of where they go now. I'm sure Jay Parr wants them to go to the Queen Elizabeth.
Yep, I can imagine that.
I thought, sorry, mate, I thought Bandersnatch was a very good run in the last there. A horse who normally races on speed, he was dragged back to last and made up a lot of ground. I think he's a much better horse when he controls a race, and he might be in for a good preparation.
Okay, so that's a horse to follow for Mark Shean there. Mark Rhoden, did you have a horse to follow at all?
Not off the top of my head, mate, sorry.
No, that's all good. All right, let's have a look at these Group 1 races. So we'll start with race 6, which is the Sires there at Randwick. Fireburn favourite at $1.95. That's the best available Friday morning. She's Extreme, $8.50. You've got $10 around Showcourt and Dormier. Let's Roll the Dice is $14. Mark Shean, did you have any opinion here in the Sires?
Yeah, well, this is off the map, isn't it? It was about 260 after acceptance. It might have even been better, but look, she was a dominant winner in the slipper after getting a bad check. I backed Fireburn and She's Extreme in the slipper, and the market's totally reversed now to what it was slipper day. Don't know about the SP profile. If you go there, you'd probably be on She's Extreme. Look, a lot of people were saying She's Extreme was unlucky. She did get checked in the race as well, but I thought Fireburn certainly sprinted better than her when they were both presented with runs at the top of the straight. And that was a very similar scenario a couple of weeks ago when they clashed also, Fireburn just having the better turn of foot. The only trouble is here there does look to be no speed in the race. Where there was speed in the slipper, there was genuine speed. So whether that affects Fireburn a little bit more, but we saw her come off a slowly run race to win there a fortnight ago as well. In the lead up at Randwick. I just can't think of the name of the race. Might have been the Sweet Embrace or the Riesling. Look, I'm on show court early. I backed this about a month ago to win this race, and also something in the Champagne because I just thought he might be the improver getting out in distance. He didn't have much luck, and he is out of the Colts division, which, the fillies do look a little bit better this time in, but at least I'm on at decent odds. Fireburn does look hard to beat. She's Extreme obviously will be an improved run from the slipper, but she's had a few runs now, so I think you'll have to just watch her in the parade. And I do think Show Court's a big improver. I'm not sure I could back anything else in the race personally.
Yeah, it's one of those races. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what Rob says out of the yard. Mark Rhoden, do you have an opinion here?
My opinion is that it's almost impossible to get away from Fireburn as top selection, as the betting suggests. From a betting point of view, look, I think I'll follow my money on She's Extreme. In no way, shape or form am I suggesting she was unlucky and should have beaten or got near Fireburn really in the slipper. But I just think comparing the way she travelled in the slipper to the win the week before, I think the wide gut's going to be a plus for her. I think she travelled better with nothing outside her the day she won. And even before she got checked, I don't think she was appreciating being cluttered up. So I could just make a little excuse for her on that score. And with a huge differential in price, it'll tip to the retired Jack Dickens, who loves his SP profile. He'd be having max bet on this. What was it, $5.50 against $12 or something? This is an obvious one there. They're flipped.
Yep.
Look, wouldn't be a big bet, but I could back She's Extreme. Fireburn. Look, if Fireburn repeats, it probably just wins, to be honest. And I'd really love if you could get something like $2.50 and just level stake them for the good win on She's Extreme and not lose on Fireburn. The one I'm expecting to improve from the slipper is Dormier, who's about third pick in the market, to be honest, out of $10. But look, he was up there on that hot speed and fought pretty well. Probably looked the winner at the top of the straight before the swoopers got him. But I think in a much gentler tempo at 1,400, they'll go forward on him. I think he can run a race. Whether he can hold the fillies off, I don't know, but I expect him to improve.
I wonder if Show Court will be dragged back to last like it was last start. Mark, what do you think?
Well, out of barrier 5, I suspect not.
You'd hope so. Okay, let's have a look at race 7, the Australian Derby over 2,400. Fascinating race. The market has Hitotsu favourite at $3.70, from Regal Lion at 6, Forgot You 8, Character 9, Benno 11, Allegron's next at $17. Mark Shean, what are you thinking here?
Well, look, he might be too good for them, but I couldn't back Hitotsu. He's had a light preparation. He got away with it in Melbourne on a good track, but this might be a little bit different. Look, he might be a swimmer in bolting, but I couldn't take the price. I've gone very wide. I thought War Eternal wasn't completely hopeless here. Good wet tracker. I thought he looked lost around Moonee Valley. He was under the whip about 800 out. He still was only narrowly beaten. Admittedly, this will be a stronger race, but he does love the wet. And I thought Benno, well, he was just dragged back to last there on Monday, closed in late, only given one hit with the whip all the way up the straight. So I think he's a definite improver from that race on Monday. So I'm backing 7 and 15, but they mightn't even run in the first 10.
Mark Rhoden?
Our good friends in the Kieran Maher data department have set themselves another challenge here, haven't they?
Yeah.
Winning the Guineas first up at a mile was one thing. Now we're second up at a mile and a half on the heavy 15. This will test them. Look, he can win if he's fit and gets through it, but I'm not taking 370 in a field of 100 to find out. Regal Lion was the eye catcher at Newcastle on Monday. He went up a bigger price than this. I think into $5.56 is it's just marginal now. But with McDonald on, I expect him to go very well in the astute hands of Murray Baker, of course. Now, you can make a case for a few of these at bigger odds. Mark mentioned a couple. Do we know where Can't Go Wong's going? Is it Melbourne or Sydney?
I believe it was scratched from Bendigo, so
okay,
I'm guessing it must be Sydney.
Yeah, I didn't mind its run at Moonee Valley either. I thought it could be a place chance at 20 odd to 1. And just on the quick backup, Sea Treasure's top 4 chance at $67. Look, this is a big class rise, but that was the best run of his career so far, and tellingly, I think it was his first run at a trip like this. He's got a distance range run under his belt, which is some people consider quite important, 2,400 metres. Class is the big question mark, but he's on the back up and got to win at the trip to his name. So maybe a rough place chance at stupid odds.
Mark, I wanted to ask you about that race on Monday, the Tulloch. So character won there, but I think Tommy Berry sat up with about 50 to go, which may have flattered Regal Line a little bit late.
Yeah.
Did you think that? And I thought Benno was, pretty quiet up the straight as well.
Yeah. Well, firstly, God bless character. I was going to back him on Saturday, and I stuck him in games on Monday, and he was never going to lose, really, was he? He travelled beautifully. Look, I've always thought he wanted this kind of trip as well. And, well, I will say I think the price difference between Character and Regal Line is too great. I could see why you'd make a case that Regal Line would be better at 2,400, but, yeah, Character won. He dominated that race. I think he's a great chance. Benno, yes. I mean, it's a lovely little bowl round run to have 5 days.
Yeah.
Just on a wet track for a few of them, actually. Yeah.
Okay, race 8 is the TJ Group 1 over 1,200 metres, and Nature Strip is favoured at $2.80 from Eduardo at $3.80, Shelby 66, $6.50, Master Crusader $9.50. Then you're out to Palele and Rock and Horse around that $15 mark. Mark Shean, it's been the story of one horse in terms of the sprinting ranks. Who are you siding with in the TJ?
Yeah, well, I spent a lot of time on this race, and I don't think I'm any the wiser, to tell you the truth. Nature Strip seems to be beaten and then turn up on the big day, and he's a different horse. So whether Chris can turn him on again on a heavy track, he looked pretty disappointing there first up, didn't he? Or second up, I should say, but whether he's a bit flat after that hard run first up and they'd left a bit in the tank. So that's a question mark. What's he won? 2 TJ Smiths and also an Everest at his last 3 big grand finals. So I've never caught him, and I'm probably not going to have a bit in the race. I just don't know. I don't know which one's going to turn up.
Yep, that's pretty fair as well. Mark Rhoden, do you have any idea?
I wanted to find him. I really did. He's been a very good horse to me. I love him. I just think he's a fantastic horse, really. But the bottomless track puts me off because, look, okay, he can be flat second up and then peak third up in his grand final. He's done that before. But I don't think he really appreciated the very wet track a month or so ago. I know it was only 1,000 metres. It'll be better at 1,200. Similar sort of track conditions, I reckon I'd lean to Eduardo to beat him. But not with a great deal of confidence because he's such a grand final specialist, Nature Strip. I could have, with the price differential, I reckon I could have something on Eduardo. He's a very good horse too, we know that, and 370 is not a bad price for him. Shelby 66, I really want to depend, but I can't completely discount him despite he's horribly placed at weight for age, but I can't discount him on the run against Eduardo and getting his conditions again. Very, very wet track. I can't discount him. Some horses meet him a lot better at the weights out of the Galaxy, but I think that won't, with the wet track, that's not going to bother him. He just gets through this ground and he'll love it. I think he's the clear third pick. And then, the 3-year-olds overpass. Politely has to improve off last start. If these, they're 7 and 8 years old, Nature Strip and Eduardo. If it is, if they are coming to the end of it, changing the guard sort of thing, I'm not quite sure what's going to win it. Maybe it's Shelby, maybe it's one of the 3-year-olds. But, if they don't perform, it could be a pretty low rating TJ. If
you just look at that replay of the challenge and you didn't know the horses, you'd be backing Shelby 66.
Yeah. Favourite for sure, no doubt. Yeah. I mean, we've been over the story 100 times, but getting beaten in highways to 5-1 at weight for age against Nature Strip, Jesus.
Yeah, the late market, I think, in this race might be really quite telling, but we'll wait and see until what happens then.
I reckon Shelby will drift. I reckon it's gone up $5.50 because of his public profile, and they'll be able to get him in the book earlier at that price. But the heavy hitters will probably have him marked closer to 9 or 10. I think that's my guess.
Okay. Race 9, the Doncaster Mile race, handicap, outstanding. Forbidden Love is favoured at $3.90 from I'm Thunderstruck at $5. Converge is $11. Ellsberg 15, Mr. Brightside 16, Banker's Choice 18, Private Eye getting 20-1. Same with Just Folk, Lighthouse, Ice Bath. Mark Shean, are you leaning somewhere?
Well, what a great race this race is, just about every year, and great race again this year. Well, obviously Forbidden Love has beaten the handicapper here. Look, I did back her in this race last year when she had no weight on her back, and she'd come off an unlucky run in the Coolmore where she didn't have a hard run, but she's definitely beaten the handicapper at 50 kilos to win 2 Group 1 at weight for age. Just that mile, he might have gone a bit early there last year, Dean Yandel. Got left in front, looked the winner, and then just paddled late. But you'd have to say she's going better now. Just on facts and figures, you'd have to say she's got a great chance. I think Just Folk, I was impressed with his trial behind Eduardo the other morning. And obviously he's relishing these wet conditions. So I think with no weight on his back, he's a chance. I'm trying to put Converge in, but I'm not sure about this heavy 10. Maybe that's just a bit too much for him. But a 3-year-old who's won 2 Group 1s with 49.5, always been a great race for 3-year-olds. And the other one I thought had a hope was Banker's Choice if he gets a run. Just looked a bit on the toe there at Rosehill. I'm not sure if that's his normal go, but he looked a bit edgy before the race, so I'd be looking at him in the yard if he does get a start. I'm 16 from 17, but a lot of chances in the race.
Absolutely. Mark Rhoden?
It is a great race. Look, it's very hard to get away from Forbidden Love with 50 kilos, but I thought it under $4 is a bit much for me in a 20-runner handicap on a bottomless track. I just think she's too short. I mean, if she comes out, look, with 50 and everything goes right in the run, she might come out and win by a couple of lengths. I worried about the end of 1600 with her too, despite the light weight. I think I'm Thunderstruck's going to get a great run, heavy 10, unknown quantity a little bit, but he's too short as well in my book. So if I back anything, well, I'm going to back Just Folk. I think for an absolute swimmer, and that's what he is, to be 20-1 is that's just great value. And I think he's just an automatic bet, not a big bet, but a very easy bet to have. And of the million others I could mention, I'm sure Rob will be backing it, but Ice Bath at around the 20-1 mark as well. She's certainly a wet tracker. I'm not convinced she's going that well, to be honest, but if she is ever to find her best again, it'll be under conditions like this, you'd think. So Forbidden Love flying. Look, another reason against Forbidden Love a little bit is I had her best run the win 3 starts ago, which admittedly was here when she won the Canterbury Stakes?
Canterbury Stakes, yeah.
Yeah. When she box seated and absolutely flew. Then she won very easily to start after that, and I just had the rider win rating down a length or so. So I just wonder whether she's peaked for the prep. That just concerns me a little bit too, only at the price. I mean, obviously she's the one to beat and deserves favouritism, but just saying those things from a betting proposition.
Yep, that makes sense as well. Okay, that brings us to the end. I'll get a best play on what's a great day of racing as always. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself.
Yeah, well, tricky day not knowing how the track's going to play, but I really liked the run of Heresy first up, thought it was good second up and dropping back to 1200. She's in the last, the PJ Bell, has drawn in the car park coming out of barrier number 17, but hopefully they're swooping there. I thought she trialled up brilliantly the other day in between runs, and that's a massive thing with Godolphin. If you see them have a bit of a break and then trial up good just before a race, you're normally in front when you're backing those horses. So if they can swoop from the back or out wide, I think she's got a great chance in the last.
Okay, keep an eye on there on the track for Heresy. It's $6.50. Mark Rhoden.
No good things from me at this stage. I'll just little value plays, smaller size bets on 2 I've mentioned already. She's Extreme in the size at $9 and Just Folk in the Doncaster around 20s.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you very much to you both. We'll catch up on Monday with Rob Scurry. We'll review this great meeting and then we'll look forward to week 2 of the championships. But guys, go well there on Saturday.
Thanks, Pete, mate.
Thanks, Pete.